Welcome everyone. Attraction isn't just about looks, wealth, or luck. It's deeply rooted in psychology. Hidden triggers influence how women perceive men. You gain an undeniable advantage if you understand them. Today we're breaking down 10 psychological weaknesses that women have, but rarely admit to. These subtle forces shape attraction, desire, and respect in ways most men never realize. From emotional stability to the power of scarcity. From controlled vulnerability to the art of self-discipline. These principles will help you master attraction and your mindset. By the end of this video, you won't just understand what women are drawn to, you'll know how to embody it effortlessly. So stay with me until the end. Because women won't just want you once you apply these insights. They'll need you. Let's get started. 1. The power of emotional certainty. Women are naturally emotional beings, constantly experiencing feelings that shift with their environment, relationships, and internal states. In the face of these emotions, they seek something solid that provides stability when their world feels uncertain. This is where a man's emotional certainty becomes one of his greatest assets. When a woman senses that a man is unshaken by emotional turbulence, she instinctively feels secure in his presence. It's not about being indifferent or dismissive. It's about maintaining a steady, grounded presence that reassures her without words. Attraction fades when a man becomes emotionally unstable, overly reactive, or dependent on a woman for validation. The moment she feels responsible for regulating his emotions, the polarity shifts. Instead of feeling drawn to his strength, she sees him as another source of stress. This is why emotional composure is crucial. A man who remains calm under pressure, who does not let frustration, anger, or insecurity dictate his actions, becomes a pillar of stability. When she is upset, he does not mirror her distress. He listens, he acknowledges, but he does not waver. His presence alone is enough to bring a sense of calm. Many men make the mistake of seeking approval, constantly seeking reassurance that they are liked, desired, or appreciated. But true confidence does not come from external validation. It comes from within. An emotionally confident man does not need a woman's words or actions to affirm his worth. He knows who he is, and because of that he moves through life with quiet, unwavering confidence. This is not arrogance, it is self-assurance. He does not react impulsively to a woman's shifting moods, nor allow minor setbacks to disturb his inner peace. He remains in control of himself, his emotions, and his responses, regardless of external circumstances. This emotional steadiness is what makes a man truly attractive. It signals to a woman that she can trust him and does not need to constantly test or challenge his stability because she knows he will not break under pressure. And in a world of uncertainty, a man who remains unshaken becomes a rare and profoundly desirable presence. 2. Women want what they can't have. Women are naturally drawn to what they cannot easily have. It is not manipulation, it is psychology. The scarcity principle applies to attraction just as to everything else in life. What is rare is valuable, and what is always available is taken for granted. A man who is too eager, too accessible, and too emotionally invested too soon unknowingly diminishes his worth in her eyes. Desire thrives in uncertainty, the space between knowing and not knowing, and the quiet anticipation of what comes next. When something is just out of reach, the mind fixates on it. The more a woman has to wonder about you, the more you occupy her thoughts. Most men sabotage themselves by making things too easy. They respond instantly, clear their schedules, and revolve their lives around a woman the moment she shows interest. They think this proves how much they care, but it signals that they have little else going on. A man who is always available communicates that his time is not valuable, and if his time is not valuable, neither is he. Actual attraction is not built on overgiving, it is built on presence. When a woman has to wonder when she will see you next, when she has to wait for your attention rather than expect it, she begins to desire it more. A man who understands this does not play games, nor does he intentionally ignore a woman to create artificial scarcity. Instead, he lives a whole life beyond her. His career, passions, and friendships come first, not as a tactic, but because he values himself. He does not rush to reveal everything about himself immediately. He unfolds naturally, letting her discover him piece by piece. This keeps the mystery alive. A woman does not fall in love with what is handed to her on a silver platter. She falls in love with what she earns, what she chases, and what she slowly unravels. Scarcity is not about withholding, it is about maintaining your gravity. A man, slightly out of reach, not desperate for attention, who moves with purpose and self-sufficiency, creates a magnetic pull. She wonders about him. She anticipates his presence. She values his time because he values it himself. And in that delicate balance of presence and absence, curiosity turns into desire, and desire becomes obsession. 3. Deep voice and strong presence, the silent attraction triggers. Attraction is not always about words. Long before a man speaks, a woman picks up on subtle cues, his voice, posture, and presence. Studies have shown that women naturally associate deep voices with dominance, leadership, and masculinity. A strong, steady tone conveys confidence and authority, while a weak or anxious voice signals insecurity. The way a man moves, holds himself, and occupies space speaks volumes before he even opens his mouth. Presence alone can be magnetic. A man who understands this does not rely solely on words to make an impression. He speaks slowly and deliberately, avoiding rushed speech or nervous filler words. His voice weighs because he is in control of it. There is no need to raise his volume or force depth. True confidence is felt, not performed. He allows pauses, letting his words carry impact rather than trying to fill silence. A man who speaks with authority commands attention without demanding it. Beyond voice, presence is shaped by body language. A strong posture, shoulders back, chest open, head high, exudes self-assurance. Slouching, fidgeting, or avoiding eye contact sends signals of weakness and uncertainty. A confident man moves with intention. Every gesture is controlled and every step is deliberate. He does not rush and does not seek approval through excessive movement. His stillness speaks louder than frantic energy ever could. Women are drawn to men who appear grounded, centered, and unshaken. This is why deep voices and strong physical presence trigger silent attraction. They signal that a man is in control of himself, unbothered by external validation. He does not need to prove anything, he simply is. And in that quiet power, he becomes impossible to ignore. 4. Women value what they fear losing. A man's greatest strength in dating is knowing when to walk away. Women, like all people, instinctively value what they fear losing. When something is readily available, it is taken for granted. When something is scarce, it becomes desirable. This is why desperation, chasing, over-explaining, or seeking reassurance immediately lowers a man's value in a woman's eyes. A man who cannot walk away signals weakness, insecurity, and a lack of self-respect. In contrast, a man willing to leave refuses to tolerate disrespect and does not beg for attention, which radiates confidence. And confidence, more than anything, commands respect and attraction. A woman may test a man's strength, whether consciously or subconsciously. She may pull away to see how he reacts. She may play games to gauge his emotional control. She may act disrespectfully to test whether he will enforce his boundaries. A weak man reacts emotionally, scrambling to win her back. He over-explains, tries to fix things, and seeks validation. In doing so, he proves that his sense of worth depends on her approval. But a strong man does not chase. He does not try to convince her to stay. He does not engage in emotional tug-of-war. Instead, he remains unshaken and lets her come to him. The mindset is simple. I want you, but I don't need you. A man who internalizes this never fears losing a woman because he understands that his value is not dependent on any single person. If she respects and reciprocates his energy, he welcomes her. He lets her go without hesitation if she disrespects him, plays games, or pulls away. He does not punish, he does not retaliate, he simply removes himself. This quiet certainty is powerful. It forces a woman to reflect, question, and realize that he is a man who cannot be manipulated and whose value is independent of her presence. This is the paradox of attraction. When a man is willing to walk away, he becomes more desirable. Women are drawn to strength, men who hold their ground, and those who do not collapse under emotional pressure. Walking away is not about playing games, nor is it about indifference. It is about self-respect. It is about setting a standard and refusing to lower it. A man who values himself does not beg for what should be given freely. He does not tolerate behavior that disrespects his time and effort. He does not allow himself to be an option when he should be a priority. In the end, a woman may stay or she may leave. That is beyond a man's control. However, what he can control is his response, his standards, and his willingness to remove himself from situations that do not serve him. He shifts the entire dynamic when he walks away with confidence and demonstrates that his self-worth is untouchable. He forces her to recognize his value, see him in a different light, and realize he is the kind of man she cannot afford to lose. And in that moment, she feels something deeper than attraction: respect. 5. A man with a mission is a woman's kryptonite. Women are instinctively drawn to men driven by something greater than themselves. A man with a clear mission exudes purpose, confidence, and discipline, qualities that naturally command respect and attraction. When a man is focused on his path, he moves with direction, making decisions that align with his goals rather than seeking external validation. This unwavering sense of purpose creates a gravitational pull that women find impossible to ignore. The moment a man makes a woman the center of his universe, he loses the very essence that made him attractive in the first place. She may appreciate the attention at first, but deep down she senses the shift. A man without purpose becomes stagnant, overly available, and emotionally dependent. Without a higher calling driving him forward, he begins to orbit around her, losing his edge and ultimately her respect. The most attractive men prioritize their careers, passions, and personal growth over relationships. This doesn't mean neglecting women. It means understanding that a fulfilling life is built on purpose, not romantic attachment. A man with a strong mission invites a woman to be part of his journey, but he never abandons his path for her. His time is valuable, his goals are clear, and his ambition is relentless. She sees this and feels drawn to the energy of a man constantly improving, expanding, and chasing something meaningful. Women do not want to be a man's sole source of fulfillment. They want to admire him, to respect him, and to feel inspired by his drive. A man who is busy with his ambitions, who refuses to be derailed by fleeting emotions, becomes inherently attractive. He is not desperate for love because his life is already whole. He does not chase, he does not beg, and he does not place a woman above his mission. Instead, he moves with certainty, and in that certainty he becomes the kind of man who never has to seek attention, because attention naturally finds him. 6. The paradox of controlled vulnerability. Many men believe opening up emotionally will make them more attractive to women. They hear that women want vulnerability, so they begin sharing every insecurity, every struggle, every emotional wound, expecting this honesty to deepen the connection. But this is a mistake. While women appreciate vulnerability, they only admire it when paired with strength. When a man overshares or seeks validation, he appears weak, uncertain, and emotionally dependent. Instead of drawing her closer, he pushes her away. The difference between attractive vulnerability and repelling emotional exposure lies in control. A man who shares his struggles after he has conquered them appears resilient. He speaks of past hardships with a sense of mastery, not as someone still drowning in them. His story inspires respect because it shows he has faced challenges and emerged stronger. On the other hand, a man who emotionally unloads his problems onto a woman, expecting comfort or reassurance, places her in the role of his therapist rather than his romantic partner. Women do not want to be responsible for fixing a man's emotional state. They are drawn to a man who can stand alone, not one who leans on them for stability. Controlled vulnerability means expressing emotions without losing composure. It means revealing depth without losing dominance over one's mind. A man should not suppress his feelings but present them in a way that reflects self-mastery. Instead of saying, "I'm struggling, I don't know what to do," he can say, "I faced a difficult time, but I worked through it and learned a lot about myself." The first statement signals helplessness. The second conveys resilience. Women respect men who have fought battles and become stronger, but do not want to be dragged into those battles themselves. Attraction thrives on polarity, strength balanced with softness, logic intertwined with emotion, and leadership tempered with empathy. A man who understands this never exposes his weaknesses in a way that undermines his presence. He does not seek pity, does not beg for reassurance, and does not crumble under emotional weight. Instead, he carries himself with quiet confidence, revealing just enough depth to create intrigue while always maintaining control. This is the kind of vulnerability that captivates a woman. It is not about being emotionally open, but about being emotionally strong enough to choose when and how to be open. 7. Women constantly test men. Understanding shit tests. Women instinctively test men, often without even realizing it. These tests are not designed to frustrate or manipulate, but to gauge a man's confidence, emotional stability, and leadership ability. A woman may challenge your opinion, act disinterested, or even create moments of tension just to see how you react. You fail if you crumble under pressure, become defensive, or seek approval. But if you remain calm, composed, and unaffected, you pass. And in doing so, you earn her respect and deepen her attraction. A woman wants to feel secure with a man, and security does not come from a man who wavers at the first sign of resistance. If she questions your beliefs or playfully mocks you, it is not because she wants you to change your stance, but to see if you truly stand by what you say. A weak man backtracks, apologizes unnecessarily, or tries to win her approval. A strong man listens and acknowledges her perspective but remains firm in his own. He does not argue to prove a point. He does not need to convince her of anything. His confidence speaks for itself. Sometimes she may pull away emotionally or act distant to see how you respond. A man who lacks self-assurance will immediately react. He will chase, question, or become insecure. He will demand answers, seek reassurance, and in doing so, reveal his emotional dependence. A man with self-respect, on the other hand, does not panic. He does not overanalyze her behavior or try to regain control through desperation. He remains centered, knowing she will return if genuinely interested, and if she does not, he moves forward without hesitation. The key to passing these tests is composure. A man who understands his value does not get rattled. He responds with confidence, humor, or even indifference. If she teases him, he teases back. If she tries to push his buttons, he remains unfazed. He does not seek validation. If she acts distant, he continues living with or without her presence. This level of self-possession makes a man magnetic. He does not react emotionally because he is not seeking approval in the first place. He knows that her perception does not determine his worth, but by the way he carries himself. When a man masters this, something powerful happens. The dynamic shifts. She stops testing because she sees that nothing shakes him. She respects him because he does not fold under pressure. She desires him because he remains a challenge, a man who cannot be easily controlled or swayed. And in the end, it is not the man who pleases her at every turn who wins her over. It is the man who remains solid, steady, and unapologetically himself. 8. Confidence in the face of rejection is magnetic. Women are naturally drawn to men who handle rejection with ease. A man who does not flinch when turned down signals something powerful, unshakable self-worth. He does not seek validation or let one woman's decision dictate his value. Rejection only stings for those who have placed their self-esteem in the hands of others. But for a man who understands his worth, rejection is nothing more than a momentary event, a brief interaction that does not define him. Most men react poorly to rejection because they see it as personal failure. They take it as proof that they are not good, attractive, or worthy. But this is a weak mindset. The truth is that rejection says more about the woman than it does about the man. Her decision could be based on timing, personal circumstances, or simply her preferences, none of which determine a man's inherent value. A man who knows this does not break under rejection. He remains composed, unshaken, and effortlessly confident. And this, ironically, makes him even more attractive. When a man handles rejection well, he stands out. Instead of looking disappointed, pleading for another chance, or acting bitter, he simply smiles, nods, and moves on as if nothing happened. A simple "no worries, your loss," said with genuine indifference, is far more potent than any desperate attempt to change her mind. This response communicates that he has options, is not dependent on her approval, and values himself regardless of external validation. Women notice this. They are used to men reacting emotionally to rejection, so when a man remains unfazed, he becomes magnetic. Confidence is not about never being rejected. It is about how you carry yourself afterward. A man who shrinks in defeat loses his appeal, but a man who brushes it off with a smirk, who continues living his life without hesitation, becomes a force that others admire. The key is to embrace rejection as a natural part of life. Every rejection is simply redirection toward something better. The more a man accepts this, the more attractive he becomes to women and the world. 9. Women love a man who keeps them guessing. Predictability is the enemy of attraction. The excitement fades when a woman knows exactly how you feel, what you'll do next, and how much you desire her. Human psychology craves uncertainty, and attraction thrives on curiosity. When a woman is left wondering about you, your thoughts, intentions, and level of interest, she becomes more invested. It's not manipulation, it's the simple reality of attraction. The men who keep women engaged are the ones who don't lay all their cards on the table too soon. When interested in a woman, most men make the mistake of becoming too available. They respond instantly to texts, share every detail about their lives, and follow predictable routines. This kills the mystery. The key to maintaining attraction is to let her experience moments of uncertainty. She should wonder when you'll text back, what you think, and where things are heading. Not knowing creates anticipation, and anticipation fuels desire. A man who understands this doesn't rush to reply whenever his phone buzzes. He takes his time, not as a game, but because he values his priorities first. Another way to maintain intrigue is to be selective in what you reveal. Many men overshare to build connections quickly. They spill their emotions, past relationships, and struggles within the first few conversations. But the actual connection isn't built through instant disclosure. It's built through gradual discovery. A woman should feel like she is peeling back layers over time, not reading an open book. She stays intrigued when you hold back just enough and let her uncover things about you little by little. Unpredictability also plays a role in attraction. If she always knows what to expect, the dynamic becomes stale. The men who keep women hooked are the ones who introduce spontaneity. Change up plans, take her somewhere unexpected, keep conversations dynamic. Don't fall into routines where every interaction follows a script. She should never feel like she has completely figured you out. That sense of unpredictability is what keeps attraction alive. A man who masters the art of mystery doesn't chase. He doesn't smother. He doesn't need constant validation. He lets a woman lean in, wonder, and invest in him emotionally. He understands that the more a woman has to think about him, the deeper her attraction grows. The power isn't in trying to impress her. It's in making her curious enough to want to know more. 10. Self-reconcilable. The ultimate power. Controlling desire equals power. A man who is ruled by his desires is a man who is easily controlled. The moment he starts chasing women, seeking validation, and prioritizing short-term pleasure over long-term purpose, he loses his power. Women can sense desperation, and nothing is more unattractive than a man who needs external approval to feel complete. The strongest, most desirable men maintain self-discipline, set high standards, and refuse to be led by fleeting emotion. When a man lacks self-control, his actions become reactive. He texts too quickly, tries too hard, and distracts too easily. But the man who masters himself moves differently. He does not chase, he attracts. His energy focuses on his mission, goals, and growth. He does not bend himself to fit a woman's expectations. Nor does he make romantic validation the center of his life. Instead, he operates from a place of abundance, understanding that women are drawn to men who have options but are not desperate for any of them. True power lies in the ability to say no to impulses, distractions, and women who do not meet his standards. He does not waste time on meaningless pursuits or lower his expectations just to fill a void. When he chooses to invest in a woman, she aligns with his values, not because he fears being alone. This self-discipline creates an aura of strength that women find irresistible. They respect a man who values himself enough to be selective, does not give his attention away cheaply, and remains in control of his emotions rather than being led by them. The key to applying this in dating is simple. Stop chasing. Let women come to you. Focus on building a fulfilling life so that a relationship becomes a complement, not a necessity. Set standards and stick to them. Do not compromise for temporary pleasure. A man who prioritizes long-term success over short-term indulgence naturally commands respect and attraction. When a woman sees that you are not easily swayed and have control over your desires, she is drawn to you in a way that no amount of chasing could ever achieve. True power is not found in pursuing, it is found in restraint. Attraction is not a game of manipulation, tricks, or fleeting charm. It is a profound psychological interplay rooted in self-mastery, emotional control, and an unshakable sense of purpose. The men who genuinely captivate women are not the ones who seek validation, chase affection, or mold themselves to fit someone else's desires. Instead, they are the men who stand firm in their identity, lead confidently, and remain unwavering in their mission. Every principle we've discussed today, from emotional stability and the power of scarcity to controlled vulnerability and the art of self-discipline, revolves around one core truth. Women are drawn to men who command their own lives. When a man is emotionally confident, driven by a strong purpose, and disciplined enough to walk away from situations that don't serve him, he exudes an irresistible energy that naturally attracts high-value women. This isn't about arrogance. It's not about playing hard to get or using Stoicism as a facade. It's about embodying the qualities that make a man genuinely valuable, qualities that extend beyond relationships and impact every area of life. A man who masters himself is not just attractive, he is respected, admired, and deeply desired. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing validation from women is the moment you become the kind of man they cannot ignore. Women don't just want a confident man. They want a man whose confidence does not depend on them. They don't just want a man with options. They want a man who chooses carefully, doesn't settle, and holds himself to a high standard. When you master emotional control, you no longer react impulsively to women's moods, tests, or games. When you prioritize your mission, you naturally become scarce, and scarcity breeds value. When you walk away from disrespect or emotional manipulation, you assert your worth without explaining it. And when you develop the discipline to control your desires, you no longer seek short-term validation, you build long-term success. The beauty of this mindset shift is that it doesn't just make you more attractive to women, it makes you more potent in every aspect of life. The man who learns to lead himself will eventually find others eager to follow. The man who refuses to be controlled by fleeting emotions becomes the one who controls his destiny. And at the end of the day, the men who master these principles don't have to chase women, women chase them. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you experienced moments when emotional control, confidence, or self-discipline changed how women responded to you? What are your thoughts on these principles? Share your experiences and insights in the comments below. I'd love your perspective. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you found this video helpful. Hence, you never miss another deep dive into relationship psychology and the power of a Stoic mindset. Until next time, keep mastering yourself and let the world take notice.